Friday's episode of The Young and the Restless delivers a perfect post-holiday shakeup, blending emotional fallout, simmering resentment, and one truly explosive moment that reminds viewers why unresolved feelings are always the most dangerous. While some characters are still clinging to the warmth of Christmas memories, others are already facing the cold reality of broken trust, buried anger, and choices that will permanently alter their futures. At the center of the episode is Claire, whose carefully controlled composure finally cracks in a public and unforgettable way, and Kyle, who realizes that sometimes love isn't about holding on, but about knowing when to let go. The episode wastes no time setting the tone. There's an undercurrent of tension in almost every interaction, especially where Audra is concerned. Audra has a way of walking into rooms like she owns the air inside them, and while she may believe she's operating from a position of strength, Friday proves that confidence can quickly turn into arrogance, and arrogance can provoke consequences. Claire has been holding things in for far too long. She has tried to be patient. She has tried to take the high road. She has tried to convince herself that she can simply walk away from the mess Audra represents in her life. But emotions don't evaporate just because we wish they would, and Friday's episode shows what happens when restraint finally gives way to rage. The confrontation between Claire and Audra doesn't begin loudly. In fact, that's what makes it so effective. The tension is thick, layered with passive-aggressive remarks, knowing glances, and words that sound polite on the surface but are sharp enough to draw blood. Audra, as always, pushes just a little too far. She underestimates how much pain Claire has been carrying, and how close that pain is to boiling over. When Claire finally snaps and throws her drink in Audra's face, it's shocking, cathartic, and completely earned. This isn't just a dramatic soap moment, it's a release. Every ounce of frustration, betrayal, and humiliation Claire has swallowed pours out in that instant. For the first time in a long while, Claire stops being the person who absorbs damage and becomes the person who delivers it. Audra, stunned and dripping, gets a rare taste of vulnerability. For someone who prides herself on control, being publicly humiliated rattles her far more than she wants to admit. The moment sends a clear message: Claire is done playing nice. And yet, even in that explosive act, there's sadness. Because the truth is, Claire didn't want it to come to this. She wanted peace. She wanted understanding. And most of all, she wanted to feel like she mattered. That sense of loss carries directly into Kyle Abbott's storyline, which quietly becomes the emotional heart of the episode. Kyle has been doing a lot of reflecting lately, and Friday pushes him to confront memories he's been trying to avoid. His scenes are filled with nostalgia, not the warm, comforting kind, but the bittersweet kind that reminds you of how good things once were and how far away they now feel. There's a touching moment involving Harrison Abbott, where it's mentioned how much Harrison loved the Christmas gift Claire gave him. The detail might seem small, but it speaks volumes. Claire knows Harrison. She understands him. She didn't just buy a present, she gave something meaningful. That realization hits Kyle harder than he expects, because it reminds him that Claire wasn't just a part of his life, she was woven into his family. She showed up. She cared. She made an effort not just with Kyle but with his son. And that kind of connection isn't easy to replace. Kyle finds himself reminiscing about the good times, the laughter, the sense of partnership, the moments when things felt simple and full of promise. He doesn't romanticize the pain, but he doesn't erase the joy either. Instead, he allows himself to feel it all, fully and honestly. And that honesty leads him to a life-changing decision. Kyle realizes that holding on to Claire, emotionally or otherwise, is preventing both of them from moving forward. No matter how much he cares, he can't fix what's broken. He can't protect her from her own search for meaning, and he can't force himself into a future that no longer feels aligned with who he's becoming. So Kyle does something incredibly difficult. He lets go with grace. He expresses genuine hope that Claire finds whatever she's searching for, not as a platitude but as a sincere wish. It's a moment of emotional maturity that stands in stark contrast to the chaos unfolding elsewhere in Genoa City. Kyle's decision isn't about rejection. It's about acceptance. Acceptance that love sometimes isn't enough. Acceptance that timing matters. Acceptance that clinging to the past can prevent growth. While Kyle and Claire navigate their emotional crossroads, Billy Abbott steps firmly into familiar territory, calling out danger when he sees it, even if no one wants to hear it. Billy makes it abundantly clear that he doesn't trust Adam Newman, no matter how polished Adam's behavior may appear lately. And more importantly, Billy believes Adam is far more like Victor Newman than anyone wants to admit. Billy's warning isn't fueled by jealousy or rivalry, it's fueled by experience. He reminds Jack and anyone else willing to listen that Adam has a pattern. He reinvents himself, earns trust, and then inevitably uses that trust as leverage. Billy sees the same manipulation tactics, the same hunger for control, and the same willingness to sacrifice others for personal gain. In Billy's eyes, Adam isn't distancing himself from Victor's influence, he's inheriting it. The tension between Billy and the rest of the Abbott circle underscores a larger theme of the episode: how history shapes perception. Billy knows what it's like to be underestimated, dismissed, and written off. That's why he trusts his instincts when something feels off. And something about Adam feels very off. The episode doesn't confirm whether Billy is right, but it plants doubt. And in The Young and the Restless, doubt is often the seed of disaster. As the hour winds down, the emotional threads begin to weave together. Claire, still reeling from her confrontation with Audra, stands at the edge of a new chapter, one defined not by suppression but by self-assertion. Kyle, having made his life-changing decision, steps forward with clarity and quiet resolve. Billy remains vigilant, unwilling to ignore red flags just because others prefer optimism. And the mention of Harrison serves as a reminder that every adult decision ripples outward, affecting the next generation in ways both visible and unseen. Friday's episode doesn't end with neat resolutions. Instead, it leaves viewers with emotional momentum. Claire's drink-throwing moment marks a turning point, not a conclusion. Kyle's decision opens the door to growth, but also loneliness. Billy's warnings may either prevent disaster, or be tragically ignored. The Young and the Restless excels when it allows characters to be messy, reflective, and painfully human, and this episode does exactly that. It reminds viewers that change is rarely gentle, closure is rarely clean, and the most important decisions are often made in quiet moments of realization rather than dramatic declarations. As Genoa City moves forward, one thing is certain: the choices made on December 26th will echo far beyond the holiday season, and no one involved will walk away unchanged.